I was teaching inner city
Wow.
for about four years straight. It's so many layers to education, but you do have to have a heart.
Yeah, so the principal came over. They handed me the roster. They're like, "Hey, we need you to cover this class, this math."
Oh wow!
Threw you into the fire, bro. Like,
And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, basically, we just want to make sure like they don't kill each other." And so
wow.
it's basically, they have those nice little like new electronic boards,
smart boards.
Yeah.
I saw a couple teachers playing Netflix on there, and I was like, "Oh, well, bet." Like, well,
you man, listen, to control some chaos.
Yeah.
Beginning. Listen, YouTube, or we gonna hit a Netflix joint, and that's my other person in the room. While I can go over here and try to get some things controlled right here. You know.
Mm-hmm. I actually stepped away from teaching because I was burnt out.
Bro, I did too. I was about to say it earlier. I stepped away too, bro. I'm just not getting back in the game, bro.
Yeah.
And the bigger thing was that I felt like I didn't have really support from up above.
And I'm pretty sure you didn't get compensated as a real teacher. They probably kept you as assistant pay. But doing full teacher responsibilities, like you have to have a certain capacity because there's so much that goes on wrong in the education system that you really can't just breeze through and not be affected by it.
Hey, you did a Last Dance? You did a Last Dance documentary?
I did, man. I was like, man,
there's no shame, bro.
It took a toll on me mentally pretty quickly and pretty badly. Because I've got this thing in my mind of like, man, I want to go in here. I want to impact these students. I want to be able to build these connections with these guys.
There's so much that has to happen before you even get to that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Brad, the one only Brad, man. This dude, I'm gonna introduce Brad. I'm gonna do Mike's outro transition. Mike. He on that Kobe. We the Laker brothers right here, and
oh man,
I think I beat Mike in bowling one time, but I got that curve. No, I lost, but bowling. I did learn from you on that curve joint. I've been curving ever since I did. That was like 5 years ago, bro.
Yeah, your brother.
Talk more noise, and I don't know what on the court. He's slapping my hand. Don't want me to get that fadeaway off. Okay. And then Brad gave me the business on the court, bro. He was like, I don't even know who would I call Brad. I think Brad was like,
y'all used to get you and Trey used to get buckets all the time, bro.
Brad was a mixture of like Bosh and DeRozan, bro. Like he had a mixture of both of them dudes right there, like with a little bit of Kawhi in there. He was like Bosh in it because he would post you up too sometimes, man. I'm like, dang, man.
Bosh. I can see Bosh.
Yeah, he boshed it, man. He got that Bosh taper too, right? I see his crispy over there.
That thing is clean.
I got the Bosh lock. I got the Bosh lock when he had the locks. All right, go ahead.
Brad, you had long hair. Look, my hair is.
Hey, boy, you
over there? Okay,
what he doing? What? You doing that,
yeah.
boy?
Phone's over there.
Hey.
I was twisting this one last night, but that's how long my hair.
Dang, bro.
Y'all, I'm trying to get up to Tyron's level, bro.
Oh no, my stuff. Yeah, it's coming down now. Again for the third time.
I know. You just stick with it. Golly.
That's what happens when you're a scorer. You don't just want to shoot threes and inside. You want to mix it up, man. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So I know I know we got to catch up on a lot of things, man. We haven't seen this in so long, but like. So, I guess I'll start with Creep. What are you doing? I see you I see everybody on Facebook and everything. And I see you. I don't know what you're doing. Your Malcolm or your Mark? I don't know what you got.
Right, Creep, an activist out here.
I know, right? Like dang, man, streets doing his thing, bro. He's speaking that thing. Like if it's not me, like Ashley sometimes would be like, "Hey, did you see what Mike Creep posted?" I said, "No, I seen this." He said, "No." I'm like, oh snap, let me go check. So yeah, man. So what's up, man? What you got going?
So look, I mean, y'all know I've been pretty like things I post now and stuff like that. Like I'm not new to this. Like I've been doing this since like 2016. I think like that last election cycle in 2016 really got my eyes open to like politics, things that were going on. Like I wasn't willing to kind of just like take a back seat any further and let and have that mindset of like, oh, they like these other people will handle like running our life in my country and things like that. Like,
I'm snapping on that. That's what we do in teacher world. We snap.
I think back then I was like, man, I have to start educating myself and all that kind of stuff. So like I've been doing it for a while, speaking up, educating myself, trying to educate others, learn from others, talk to others, things like that. So I was at the end of last school year, so August to like October. I tried to do. I had done my insurance job. It was about 7 years in or so, but I was really like wanted to do something more fulfilling. So I was like, man, I want to go into the schools, work with students, kind of be able to mentor them on a much closer relationship. And so I got paired with I had a good friend who was an assistant principal at a school up north. And I got my role was going to be like a teaching assistant.
Right.
And then from the first day on the job, man, it was not what I expected, it was not what my responsibilities were supposed to be. With the school, of course, it was a TPS school,
right?
And it was out north, and so I knew like the type of students that would be there, and so like, honestly, that's why I went there, because they need a black male in their lives, the students up there. So it wasn't like the students that ran me off or anything like that. But from the first day on the job that I got there, there were different teachers that were constantly out. Either some were like, for the first 2 weeks there's a teacher who was still in Kenya trying to get their visa.
Wow.
So they were like, hey, we need you to cover this class, this math.
Oh, wow. Threw you into the fire, bro. Like, snap. Now listen,
math class.
I know. Because I was out, listen, we was out there at 63rd Street North at Legacy for like 5 years, 6 years, bro. So going into the fire, bro. You get
and so and them kids were like that at 9 a.m. too.
Creep. What grade was this?
It was 7th grade math.
Ooh.
So the school I was at was 6th, 7th, and 8th. So my first day on the job, 8:30 a.m. They were like, "Hey, we need you to cover the 7th grade math class. The teacher's out for a couple of weeks." And I said, "Yo, I'm gonna be honest. Like I was just an insurance agent last week.
Right.
I've got no education background. I don't do that." Yeah. The principal came over. They handed me the roster. They're like, how do you feel? And I was like, yo, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm a little overwhelmed, because you're asking me to be in front of a classroom of 25 kids when, again, my whole thing, teaching assistant, I'm supposed to be in there with someone who's an actual teacher.
I'm gonna come learn from somebody.
Right. I'm supposed to assist.
Right. I'll have a little small group. I can kind of work with some, like maybe 3 or 4 kids at a time and like build. And instead I'm supposed to be responsible for like 25 kids, and he was like, yeah, I mean, basically we just want to just make sure like they don't kill each other. And so it was basically just like being a kind of a warm body.
Right. Control chaos.
Tell you
babysit, bro. Babysit.
That's what I was doing when it was that every single day for the entire time I worked there I did it for 2.5 months.
Wow. Salute to you.
And it was every single day I walked into the school, it was a new like, hey, we need you on this side of the building, either 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, different grade every single day, different class. And like, honestly, it started taking a toll on me. It took a toll on me mentally pretty quickly and pretty badly. Because I've got this thing in my mind of like, man, I want to go in here. I want to impact these students. I want to be able to build these connections with these guys.
There's so much that has to happen before you even get to that.
Right.
Yeah. And like
personally, individually.
Right. Mm-hmm. I did to a degree. There were some of the athletes. I was able to connect with them, but it wasn't like how it was supposed to, because on some days I'm on the other half of the school teaching 6th grade when I've got these 8th grade relationships with these boys. And so, mentally it was a pretty low spot mentally. I mean, there were some days where I woke up and I didn't even go into the school because I was like, man, I don't feel like going in here and just being a babysitter every single day, for 8 hours a day when, the kids aren't listening to me. And the bigger thing was that I felt like I didn't have really support from up above. And that was a tougher thing, because I was
you own it, brother. You're giving everybody a scope of what the teacher world is like.
And I'm pretty sure you didn't get compensated as a real teacher. They probably kept you as assistant pay. But doing full teacher responsibilities.
So please believe, yes, correct. My title was a TA. I was telling them, y'all are at least going to give me sub pay, because sub pay was more than TA. So doing this entire
job. It's true, though. It's true.
Doing this entire job, I knew I was taking a massive pay cut from being an insurance agent. Like, I knew what I was getting into. That's why I was like, man, when it wasn't looking like my expectations weren't being matched or even just slightly fulfilled. Like, I was doing something completely different to where, there were a lot of days I woke up, didn't even go in because I was like, man, this is not what I was told to be. So there was no support from up above. So that was kind of my tougher. That was my biggest struggle with that season, was that I was like, man, all I would be handed every single morning was kind of like a roster, just check off these names. Like, there wasn't any school.
Make sure people were present. Exactly.
That's no lessons plans or anything like that. And so that's where I was just like, yo, so what am I supposed to do for 45 minutes? I mean, to be completely honest, same thing right from there. I saw a couple of teachers they had because they have those nice little new electronic boards.
Smart boards.
Yeah. I saw a couple teachers playing Netflix on there, and I was like, "Oh, well, bet." I was
listen, bro.
Completely honest.
No.
Hey, no, that's facts.
I'm gonna say this like I didn't hear you just say this. To be completely honest with you, man, listen. To control some chaos, in the beginning, listen, YouTube or we gonna hit a Netflix joint, and that's my other person in the room. While I can go over here and try to get some things controlled right here,
Sadly, I'm playing the Flash. I mean, at first I started off with Planet Earth because okay, at least maybe they'll learn try to learn a little bit of something for Discovery Channel.
Right.
But then, we just got to I'm playing Flash for these students, and I'm just like, man, this is not the way school is. First of all, an insurance agent should not be in front of a classroom. If I had a kid who was in 6th grade and I knew kind of what was going on, the environment in school, I knew Oklahoma schools and Tulsa schools were bad. And that's part of the reason I wanted to be a part of the fixing the problem. When I went into it and I realized just how bad it truly was, the fact that an insurance agent was covering for classes every single day with no lesson plan, having the kids watch Flash on Netflix all day, every day.
Just trying to make it through the day, brother.
It blew my mind, and that's why. In that moment, I was like, "Yo, I will not send my kid to a TPS school." And when by the time comes, there's going to need to be some massive changes in our education system here.
Yes. Nice. So what's interesting is I had some of the same experiences, but not as bad as yours. We had pretty good support from our leadership, but I was at a charter school, which there are some misnomers about charter schools and all like that we handpick. Yeah. No, we had the same group of kids, but the charter school basically is like you can teach how you want to teach. You can use whatever to teach, right? As far as like music, whatever. So the creative ways to teach. So the charter school, though, I mean, the pay is better, obviously, and they're their own entity, but they still have to abide by like TPS type stuff going on. Like it's still a public school infrastructure in terms of rules and regulations like that. But we did have support from our teachers or from our leadership and stuff like that. But I will tell you, even in that, I felt the exact same way you felt in terms of what you're up against as you're in the classroom as a teacher, as the only one there to 25 kids, right? And sometimes, let's be real, it gets to 30, especially for some people, especially for another teacher that's like, can they come over there or they skip, because then there's this thing too, articles that talk about how education has also kind of used us to be the disciplinary, right? And so, can he come to your class, or can he, so in terms of that, look,
every day, every period that would happen.
Yes. So, and then lunchtime was, if you ever did lunch duty, lunch duty is wild too.
Nah, man, that was how I decompressed. But and so when I finally I got to the point where finally it was just too much on me mentally. And like it was just draining mentally and emotionally. Like I would call my stepmother, who was like a kindergarten, she's like a Head Start leader back on the East Coast. I would call her like every single day on the way home from work, like, yo, is this really how it's supposed to? Because I was excited. I was excited to be in the schools. I was like, yo, is this really how it's supposed to be? Like, I'm like venting every day, kind of telling her everything, and she's like, no, it's absolutely not supposed to be like this. And and so when I finally got to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I told the leadership at my school, I was like, man, I appreciate like the opportunity. It's not what I expected. It's not what I was told I was going to be doing. And I said, I understand you guys are making do with like the best that you have. Like I'm not blaming my individual school leadership at all. It's a much bigger
leadership support. Exactly.
It goes all the way up to TPS, the entire organization as a whole, our education system here in Oklahoma, and then education in our country as a whole. I mean, the blame needs to be up the ladder a ton, but I understand that you guys here are making, like, you're just trying to make do with the best you can. Like, I'm not going to blame y'all for that.
Trying to make something smooth with, a whole bunch of rocks, right? It's like,
right. Exactly. And so I was like, man, I don't blame y'all, but just right now, it's not for me.
Trying to paint a picture with no brush or no paint, bro.
Right, exactly. and it's just like, man, it's so like, I saw so much, man. You just see how we're failing our young black men. I mean, these boys we're just basically just yelling at them, trying to discipline them all day. No real education.
Yeah.
So
you're kind of like the parent, right? You like the parent. It's and you see it, and you see it at ground level. So it just hit me. So my baby girl is in her 4th week, I think, of daycare, right? So went from in quarantine time, I was with this girl every day. Okay, so it was bittersweet for me. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm doing it now, obviously, but she's going there from 7:30. 8 o'clock until like we get there about 3:30, 3:45 to pick her up.
Right.
So we talking about once we get home, it's about 4 o'clock, 4:15. We have till about 6:30, bro, and it's time to get ready for bedtime routine, bro. So you got to think about, it hit me today. The teacher has the kids more than
that's the most.
And so I'm thinking, like, man, do I want this for the for the rest of her. Do I want her someone? Not that I don't trust, even if it's like the best educational system, school, whatever. Do I want her away from me for this duration of time? And obviously, it's good for some time. Now, this is just something fresh on me. Just this morning, I'm thinking like, man, I got to figure out something her do. Like,
that's who they see the most.
Half day, we got to balance this out some kind of way, because because man, that's a lot of time. That's 8 hours. That's 40 hours.
That's who we see the most.
That's 40 hours that they're at the school in a week, 5 days a week, and then you're talking about 3 times 5, 40 hours to 15 that the parents get, bro. And I'll say 20 because you got the little hour and a half, hour when you wake up to get ready.
Right.
But other than that, bro, you're talking about 20 hours a week, bro. So y'all getting double the time at the school and half the time at home, man. Which takes me to an even deeper thing that I've always thought about is, man, that's the slavery part of it right there. Is, dog, like our kids and their parents are at lunch at the same time. I mean, think about that. I mean, you're training kids to be in this boxed in 9-to-5 routine, bro. And not all the kids are probably going to be that. You got some creative entrepreneur type kids who need to be in a space to where like they don't have to be in a space like that, to where it's like this. It's so many different nuances of the schedule that I've thought about in my head, and what is education, things like that, which we're gonna get more into here in a second. But I don't know, man. That's why this time right now is a blessing, because now we have to kind of think about a different structure in which we communicate education and how we do it, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I agree with you. I mean, I think, like you said, just realizing how much time students actually spend at school, and not even just students, but teachers as well. That's why teachers need to be compensated better. That's why they need to be supported more from these school districts and just education as a whole.
Man, I used to say we need to have a 3-day weekend, bro. I used to be like, listen, we got to have Monday through Thursday, and it's a constant 3 day. Like you got to have.
Well, you remember Tulsa was fighting. Tulsa was borderline voting on that, but it wasn't because it was because we had no funding. It was because our funding was such crap here a few years ago, where they were contemplating a 4-day school week, and it's just like, man, like that's how. I mean, we were just a few years ago, we were 50th in the nation, or 49th. We were like, there was only like one state,
49th,
one state better than us.
Yeah.
And education, and it's just like, yo, that's like. I mean, we're here in Tulsa. We're supposed to be the super great city.
That's what I'm saying.
Growing and building. People aren't going to want to come to Tulsa.
Exactly.
If they know that their kids are.
It's not going to get educated. Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. How is it that we're first? How is it that we're the belt buckle, bro? Think about that. We're top when it comes to what I call God aware, right? God aware city. People come here, you talking about the Rhamas, the Church on the Moves, they come here to get ready for ministry work, bro. They come here. ORU, things like that. We're top in that, but we're low. That's a crazy gap, bro. That's like number 1 and then number 50. Like, what? Like, and then first in like teenage pregnancy, bro. And then a female incarceration. I mean, what?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. So seeing that, man, it's just, there's so much that needs to be done in our city, in our state, and of course in our country when it comes to education. And that's why I'm happy, like dudes like Brad, who like stepped in and who are, who were being that change, because I realized it quickly. It wasn't like I thought I could handle it. It wasn't quite. Either it wasn't my time or what. But it wasn't.
No,
you did a Last Dance. You did a Last Dance documentary.
I did, man. I was like, man,
there's no shame, bro. Because a lot of teachers.
It's hard, bro, for real.
A lot of teachers. I felt that way numerous times. So there's no shame.
And I was 3 months in. And I can't imagine teachers who do it for years on end. I'm just like, how do y'all not get burnt out?
No, look,
We do.
Teaching is truly a calling, bro. It's truly
No, it is.
You have to have something innate in you that because like Ashley, like she's wanted to teach since she was a kid, bro. Like since she was like 3rd grade, she wanted to teach. So she actually did it, doing it, and she was like engulfed with that stuff, bro. Like when she wasn't at the school, she looking up lesson plans, bro. Always looking up extra stuff to be this better teacher and give kids this experience. And you have to have a passion for kids too, in a special way, a connection with them. And she loves like I'll be honest, man. There was times I'm like, babe, like, look, I'm here too, man. Like, no, for real, look. She was on some like, no, I'm serious, man. It was inspiring. It's so inspiring to see somebody just go out. Like, she was on some. I was like, man, I know you don't like them all like that, but man, you on some Kobe stuff, bro.
Right. Yeah, that is.
I'm talking about. It's in her dreams. I mean, bro, there's been times that she probably gonna beat me up for saying this. There's been times, brother, where she like, I swear I heard her teaching in her sleep, bro.
Wow.
No, that is inspiring, and that's what we need. We like,
that thing is in there. You know what I'm saying?
But we need people like her creating the legislation, and we need her instead of Betsy DeVos.
Bro, she can tell you stories. I got some crazy experience. Her kids in North Tulsa, we was at 6th Street. We what they call Deep North, right? So Turley, bro. So we're talking about her 3rd grade class finished, bro. Top in terms of the testing, bro.
Really?
She's one teacher that had like 27 kids, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so we need her up top, but man, that's where
we need her up top. I'm gonna tell her that she's gonna listen. She's gonna hear this. That's a word right there. That's some confirmation right there.
Hey, if I ever run for president, I'm tapping her for Secretary of Education. Tell her that.
Hey, bro.
Because we need people like that who truly care about
the kids' experience, man.
Raised up.
Yeah.
Those people need to be in charge of creating our not people who are just
man. Bro, she had kids in there listening to. Bro, she had kids in there listening to Beethoven, bro. Like on some like, boom, like jamming to that joint, like. Okay, you know, I'm like, how did you do this? How do you? She's great at creating like the community, like within the classroom, to where they feel like, man, this is my hood right here, man. I'm going to Miss Hall's, and we you know,
right.
I got like so much so like she missed like one day one time. We're on the way to school, and one of her like 1st grade students called her. Like, hey, Miss Hall. I'm like, is that Braylon, brother? And she's like, yeah. She said, are you coming to work? Are you gonna come teach?
Wow.
So he must have told his mom to call, right? And he was like, she's like, yeah, I'm almost there now. I said, okay, just making sure, cause you know, I wasn't gonna come unless you. I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I'm like, that's crazy.
That's powerful.
Yeah, man.
That is wild.
That's crazy, man.
That's
Can you play that sight word song? Can you hit up that? You know, I'm like, what? Like she had them in there on point, bro, for real.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But okay, so Brad, man,
be rad.
Rad. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I'll just continue on the education road. I agree with you 100%. It's a calling, and so I got that calling when I went to ORU. I'm not saying that ORU was the place for me to hear. I was so open and so seeking God, and ORU was like the foundation for me to hear it. But yeah, and so I understand the heartaches and the trials and the injustice that goes on in education, like Creef. I think Creef is really articulate, can be very articulate in exposing the injustice in systems from a broad perspective. I feel like my cause is more educational, so I do try to bring awareness from an education standpoint when the like my activist kind of feeling sparked during the Parkland shooting in Florida.
Yes.
Because that was literally 2 hours from my school, 2.5 hours from my school. And on that same day, my school had a code red lockdown for another shooting, but it was off campus.
Wow.
So it was a lockout, not a lockdown, but it happened at the same time. And I was teaching inner city for about four years straight in Orlando. And so once the shooting happened in Parkland, that's when I started to post about gun control, and I went to the protests, I marched, I went to DC.
I remember that, man. I was so happy / jealous of you, dog.
I know, right?
There was, and I went by myself, not to brag, but just to be like
trending, right?
I didn't care. Like, I feel like, because it affected me so much, and so I know everybody has their own cause. And I feel like education was mine. And so, but yeah, it's so many layers to education. But you do have to have a heart. Like, I'm not saying if you're not in education, you don't have a heart, but like, you have to have a certain capacity, because there's so much that goes on wrong in the education system that you really can't just breeze through and not be affected by it. And like y'all were touching on, being a parent figure, a father figure. And I saw a statistic that Black people in education, it's like 5%, and like 1% to 2% are males. So it's just like, it's just crazy why that's even like that. But that's a whole nother topic. But it's like, once we step into that classroom, like you were saying, Tyrone, just our presence, it is impactful. Like, we don't have to say much. We don't have to, put on a show, just tucked in shirt, button up, just present yourself. Like, you can make it.
There.
You just there. Like, they're speaking volumes already. So
absolutely.
Hey, my dad spoke more with his presence than he did with his words, bro. And he spoke a lot of words, bro.
Yeah, that's powerful, and that's real, and that's one of the reasons to talk about dads. That's one of the reasons why I got an education, because I grew up in a single parent home, and I realized how much having a mentor impacted my life and strayed away from me from certain things that I could have went down a certain path if I didn't have certain male mentors. I'm not saying women mentors can't, but it's just something about a man's presence that kind of overseas dominates more. And so that's one of the reasons that keeps me going back into the classroom. Like, because at Creek, I agree with you 1,000%. There are times where I wanted to quit. There are times where I feel like I'm not getting enough support. I feel like teachers are kind of just not appreciated. And so I felt you, like, with everything that you were saying. Like, I don't feel shame at all, bro. Like, we all done it.
Yes.
And so I actually stepped away from teaching because I was burnt out.
Bro, I did too. I was about to say it earlier. I stepped away too, bro. I'm just not getting back in the game, bro.
Yeah. So Creep, like, I want to like commend you, like, for at least trying that, because I did step away, because I taught inner city Title I. It was like 90% or like 80% poverty rate, and it was just like, the odds are stacked so against you that it's like, I don't know how you can, like, mentally endure that time. And so I snapped like anybody else, but it was a graceful bow out. But I told my principal, I told everybody I needed to buy. I started pursuing real estate,